Today on the Nerdy Gritty, the director of PlayStation exclusive Days Gone partly blames the audience for why there won't be a sequel.
One more world disappears inside it. Just another hopeless addict. Well, they make some man instead. If the drums don't get you, the guitars will.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty after so long, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I am Dez. That's all I got. That's it. I'm Dez and I'm back, baby.
And I'm cool motorcycle Fox. And I've got a motorcycle and I'm cool. But
hey, I'm going to be the one to step out right away and apologize and say I'm sorry. Things have been crazy on my side of the street here. I'm selling my house and buying a new one. And so it's just been bonkers. And that's why we had like an NG compilation and then we missed a week. And this one's, I don't know when, is this going to come up today? Or are we going to post this as we're recording it?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Whatever it is, apologies. It's my fault is the bottom line here.
Yeah, no, that's really the important part is that it's all Dez's fault. But we're back and we're talking about an interesting concept today and a controversial take. So
Right.
I'm excited. But before we get to that, also coming out this week as of recording this, which, is the new Mortal Kombat movie adaptation. So what we're going to do this week to celebrate is to find out which Mortal Kombat characters we are. We have a very scientific quiz here. This is I literally Googled it, and this is zoo.com. And so we're gonna go through, and we're both gonna answer these questions and find out who we are. Right. I'll kick it off. First question here: which word best describes you? Calm, mysterious, intelligent, or headstrong? Des, what are you? We should also try to be a little different so we can be different people.
Right, of course. Well, of these options, I have an anxiety issue, so calm is not going to be the one.
I wouldn't say calm is it.
And not mysterious either, so I'm going to narrow down to intelligent or headstrong.
Sure.
Of the two, I'm going to go with intelligent. I think I am more intelligent than I am headstrong. I'm going to go with that.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, that's
thank
a good
you.
one. Yeah.
What about you, my friend?
I'm going to go with calm.
Yeah, you're a very chill person.
I'm going to say in contrast, for sure, I am the calm one among us. So
right.
I'm going to go with calm. All right.
Oh, wait. Cool. Am I selecting your options?
Let's just do our own.
Okay, we're doing our own. All right. So I said intelligent. Cool.
Yep. All right. Why don't you take question number 2 here?
So how would your boss describe you? So we have the same boss.
We have the same boss.
Right. So how would our boss describe each of us? There's empathetic, determined, flexible, or passionate.
What's fun here is that we both recently had like our yearly review.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go personally based on what they said with flexible.
You know, I'm also going to go with flexible.
Okay.
Mostly just because they have allowed, like they have asked a lot of me this past year.
Sure. Yeah.
And I've kind of gone with the flow. And so, you know what? But we want to be different. We said we want to be different. So I'm going to go empathetic. All
right. Sure. Sounds great.
Yeah. Because also I really do identify with the students a lot and I care a lot about them.
That's fair. Yeah. 100%.
Empathetic.
There's a lot more. Wait, hold on. We did not check this out. There's a lot of questions in this.
It's supposed to be a 5-minute quiz. Sweet fancy Moses.
Well,
okay. Tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. There are so many of these questions. We are gonna read the question and then just say which one we're picking and why. Real quick. We're not gonna go over the options. We're not gonna go over it. Okay. Which of these careers would you want to have? Of these options, I would. These are terrible options.
This is a weird question.
I would choose police officer because I feel like you could do some good work from the inside. Having more empathetic police officers is a good thing right now.
I'm gonna go with judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do that to enough people already anyway.
Yeah, because I'd say I am the law.
I mean, my very close second was exotic dancer because I knew just how much money I could make with this body.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Right.
Which color would you wear with black? I'm gonna
Blue.
go with You're going with blue?
Yeah.
Oh, not yellow like a Batman?
Well, I mean, I'm not Batman.
That's fair. It's a good point.
You're going to go with white, right?
I'm gonna go with white.
Yeah. I'm wearing gray and blue right now. So,
Okay.
what's your fighting style? Okay. I actually did not study any of these four, but I'm going to pick jujitsu because it's the most like Aikido, which I chose. And typically today they say that Brazilian jiu-jitsu is like if you're going to be any sort of mixed martial artist, you have to have Brazilian jiu-jitsu, BJJ.
I'm gonna go with Hapkido.
Good call. Good call.
I don't have my real fighting style is run away, but I don't think any of these are that. So,
what's your weapon of choice?
This one just says a gun, but I typically use both my guns.
Yeah.
My arm.
They're called Earth Realm and Neville Realm. We just talked about that.
My big muscles. No, I'm gonna go with. Woody, go ahead.
This is a real thing. I know how to use a bow staff.
All right,
I could actually fight with one of those things.
Then I'm gonna go with a cool sword.
Nice. My weapon was meant to combat your weapon, so
all right,
pretty happy about that.
All right, I'm gonna choose gun also.
No, dang it, no.
I'm gonna choose a gun that shoots swords. All right, choose another. Okay, you just get another weapon now. I'm gonna have a sword and a hammer.
Let's see. The bow is gonna be more for like distance. It's meant to like keep people away from you, and then let's pretend somebody closes that distance, and I have to drop the bow. So I'm gonna go at that point. Nightstick. Yeah.
Okay.
Just something a little more close range here. Which of these elements would you incorporate into your fighting style? I'm going high-tech gadgets so I can be like Batman.
Unobtainium. Oh, that's not an answer. I'm gonna go with acid. I'm gonna drop some acid and then fight you.
That's gonna go real well for you, I'm sure.
It's gonna be great.
This is the longest intro ever. Yeah. How is this a 5-minute quiz?
It's okay. In the you'll get to hear the entire thing in the director's cut.
The director's cut, yeah. This is the edited version. All right, who'd you get?
Oh, you're gonna be jealous. I'm Raiden.
Are you really?
Yeah.
So am I.
Wait, what?
We actively chose different things.
Well, zoo.com, your quiz is terrible. I'm calling you out. This is awful.
We would both be the Thunder God himself, Raiden. Raiden is one of the oldest and wisest characters in the game and is a being of immense and immeasurable power who never fails to put up a fight against evil. He is selfless in that he would sacrifice himself on numerous occasions to save everyone himself. Can you sacrifice yourself on numerous occasions?
Because
if you come back, then it wasn't... No, I guess... That's weird.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We're both Raiden, apparently.
Yeah, there we go.
And so this was the worst quiz.
That's a bad quiz because we actively tried to choose different things and came up with the same answer.
Sorry for the bad intro, everybody. Let's move on.
Anyway, Fox, what's going on in the world of news?
There's a whole lot going on. This one's gonna take a little bit of explanation, but it's wild.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Okay. So this is a Kotaku article. The title, the headline is not the most accurate. It's not my favorite headline, but here it is. Roblox player fakes their way into White House briefing.
What?
So here's essentially what happened. Let me give you a brief. Okay. There is a person named Casey Montague who has spent months becoming ingratiated with the White House press corps. Basically, a bunch of people who they are designated by various outlets to be the ones reporting on what's going on in the White House. This person integrated themselves with the corps. They weren't actually in the corps. They just became friends with a lot of people in it. They just made those connections. Turns out that's not an actual real person. This is a fake persona created by somebody in Roblox.
Interesting.
Essentially, what they did was build these relationships over a long period of time. lied about who they were and outlets that they were connected with, and eventually were able to, because of this, there's a common thing that happens, especially right now in the White House press corps, that somebody who's actually physically present and able to ask questions will relay a question from somebody else, because there's a limited number of spaces for people to actually be there right now. And so what they did was they became good enough friends that they were able to relay a question to the actual press. Jen Psaki is her name, and basically what's been found out is that they are not real. They are actually a made up persona by somebody who is part of a political Roblox role play server.
There are so many things to unpack there.
Yes, this is it's so layered. It's ridiculous.
First of all, a political Roblox roleplay server?
Yeah, first of all, that exists. Here? That's
what?
A thing. And
second of all, okay, this is the very, very lowest line of infiltration, like getting your question asked in a White House press conference or whatever, but that's still pretty wild.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
It's I mean, luckily the question was not really, it wasn't anything weird. Like, they didn't say, here's a question, and then everybody was like, this can't be. The question was like, what's the president's relationship with Barack Obama right now? Or something like that. It wasn't like, Roblox is better than Minecraft, noob, or something, because it had...
What is the president's opinion on loot boxes? We need to know what he's thinking there.
I generally want to know that, though.
Well, on a very, very different note, a Kingdom Hearts 3 mod finally removes infamous voice lines.
What?
So a modder, because now that Kingdom Hearts 3 is out for PC, all the Kingdom Hearts games.
Right.
A modder has come in and removed some infamous voice lines. No, nothing controversial. Why can't I talk? Nothing controversial or weird. No, the mod has removed every single dumb piece of dialogue that the characters just randomly say as you're walking around, like, I think there's a chest around here.
That sounds amazing.
This is a good place to find some ingredients. Is that not the greatest thing you have ever heard in your life?
That's a wonderful mod.
I need this mod to be a general mod that I can apply to any game at any time, because the random banter in video games is either great, like in Dragon Age Origins, or horrific, like pretty much not the new Dragon Age. Sorry, the Dragon Age. Yeah. What was the new one?
I don't know.
The newest Dragon Age.
Inquisition.
Sorry, like Dragon Age Inquisition, or horrible, like pretty much every other game ever.
Right. Yeah, it's generally like 6 lines of dialogue recycled 1 billion times.
And hearing it over and over and over again, Code Vein was did this egregiously. It was horrific, and I just wanted to. So I literally looked in the menu probably 3 or 4 times. There's got to be a way to stop this, right? There's got to be a way to turn off random dialogue, and never was.
Well, shout out to that modder. Great job.
Yes, thank you very, very much, normie mods.
Well, what have you been getting into in these past? We've had several weeks here, so let's weed out the bad stuff and just get down to some of the good stuff.
Well, the good news is not much, because most of what I've been doing is packing up my house, installing new carpets, painting walls. Like, I've been crazy busy with other stuff. So I've only got 3 things to mention here. The first one I'll say is I watched Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay. It was an animated movie, and Fox and I talked about a lot of stuff already just because we're friends and we talk about things. But so I was telling you, Fox, that Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay is an animated, one of the DC animated movies, and it was really good. It was really good in that it did a great job balancing the comedy of the Suicide Squad with the seriousness of who Bronze Tiger is, of Deadshot and his daughter, like of all these sort of villain with a heart of gold mindsets. It flowed better than Suicide Squad the movie. It had better comedic timing than Suicide Squad the movie. And because like the whole premise wasn't like a save the world type of thing, the whole premise was there's a get out of hell free card. and there are 3 different people who want it. And it's such a goofy and weird premise, but also when you think about it, a villain would really want this card. Get out of hell free would be a really, really important thing for a villain. So it's a believable but laughable premise at the same time. Like, it was really good, and it just more so made me annoyed that, because as a DC guy, as a guy who loves DC Comics, made me even more annoyed that they just can't seem to get the live action films right. That they've made like 2 or 3 good live action films in the past decade.
Right.
So yeah, sad and frustrating, but Suicide Squad Hell to Pay is a good movie. I recommend you watch it.
Well, in a very, very similar vein, I watched Frost Nixon. It's
Frost Nixon?
Yeah, it's a Frost/Nixon is the movie
title.
title.
As in the political. Yeah, okay, got it.
Yes, it's a movie about a very famous interview that a TV personality, David Frost, did with Richard Nixon after he was impeached, after he stepped out of office. And we watched it largely because, my wife being in law school, they've been talking about like impeachment a little bit and talking about Richard Nixon, and she literally was like, hey, find me a movie about Richard Nixon, let's watch it. And she was disappointed because this is not the kind of movie she wanted to watch, but the movie itself was pretty interesting, because it was basically, picture a sports movie, like specifically like Rocky, where it's about the underdog going up against the champion, and there's like training montages, and it's essentially a sports movie, but the actual sport taking place is a political interview, because it's about Richard Nixon, who is famously, like, he's a very good orator and very quick and very intelligent, very charismatic. Well, kind of charismatic, kind of just douchebag. But he's going up.
You can be both. You can definitely be both.
That's fair. The interviewer is David Frost, who is mostly known as just a goofy, like, late night personality, and is, at the start pretty unprepared for interviewing this, especially right after this guy has been impeached, and like it's such a huge issue. And it was very interesting. I mean, it was an interesting story, of course, but also the main 2 characters, Michael Sheen and actors, Michael Sheen and Frank Langella, were really great. Frank Langella as Richard Nixon was incredible. I learned he method act. He was employing the method act throughout the whole thing. He always
broke character.
Yeah, he never broke character. In fact, at the ending of the final, like the last day of photography, when they were done, he literally said to everybody, "Hey, everybody, my name's Frank," because like he was just always separated himself, never broke characters. Yeah, but he was very, very good. It was such a good portrayal of such a specific personality that it can be very easy to feel like a caricature or just like a joke, and it drew you in immediately. It was really great.
I started watching The Nevers. It's a Joss Whedon show that's on HBO Max, and made me think of a couple of things. And this is something that we've talked about before, of divorcing the creator from the creation. A while back we talked about it, I think, with J.K. Rowling, and we also talked about George Lucas and Star Wars and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so just that whole thing. And so it's something I've been thinking about a lot while watching it, but still, The Nevers is good, but it is very, very Joss Whedon show. I will say that it's female-led, strong female characters, cool superpowers, a little bit of intrigue in there, but the reality is that it's a lot of things Joss Whedon has done before, so that's not to say that it's bad. I really am enjoying the show. It's Victorian era, very steampunky. It's fun. It's great. Where there's some only 2 episodes in, some cool twists and turns coming around to it. A lot of like classism involved in this. A lot of racism would be the right term, but super powered versus non super powered. you could say sort of, stereotyping and whatnot, but it's making a lot of good kind of political commentary, and it's definitely referencing a lot of modern times things. But all in all, as far as a show, it's fine. It's pretty good. So if you like sort of Joss Whedon style, definitely if you like steampunk type stuff, absolutely go watch The Nevers. But if neither of those things are things that like really, really hit you like, ooh, yes, steampunk, Joss Whedon, you could probably skip it if you wanted to. It's a good show. It is.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I watched, I said Frost Nixon was very similar to like a Rocky or, like a sports movie.
Right.
I also watched Creed 2, which was very similar to like a political, like, interview movie. Just kidding. No, Creed 2, the second of the Creed movies. This one's actually about the band, though.
Yeah, Scott Stapp was incredible in it,
Yeah, it's wonderful. Creed 2 was really great. I believe that Creed and Creed 2 are both better than any Rocky movie except for the first one. Just because they have much better writing. The Rocky movies got increasingly ridiculous and goofy, and they're still very fun to watch and like just do what a good sports movie is supposed to do, root for the underdog, want to see him overcome, But Creed and Creed 2, both of them are very like sports second, where obviously the boxing is a huge part of it, but like I care more about like Adonis Creed and his wife, or his girlfriend, I guess. Like I care more about them, and I care more about like what's actually happening to Rocky in these movies. Like that's all far more important to me, and that's kind of the goal of any movie is you want to care about the people more than you care about the actual plot most of the time. Like, and I think they do that very well. I'm really interested. Creed, they're intending on making a third movie in the series, but it has been confirmed that Sylvester Stallone will not appear. And so,
interesting.
My prediction is that it will start at the pretty early on. That it'll, maybe even start on a gloomy note at Rocky Balboa's funeral or something. My guess is that he's very old these days.
He's an old man for sure.
Also, Sylvester Stallone is not a good actor unless he's playing Rocky.
Right.
If you don't know, he wrote the first Rocky movie.
Oh, I didn't know he wrote the first.
And it won.
I know that he wrote a lot of them.
And it won Best Picture. Like, this was the movie that made him. Like, this is anything else he's ever done is because of Rocky. And so there's very clearly a very, very personal attachment to that character.
Right.
He wrote it not he wasn't obviously a boxer, but I think there was a lot of just a very personal element to the story of this, underdog character from Philly, So whenever he plays him, it's just like, yeah, that's Rocky. That's not even Sylvester Stallone. That's Rocky. Like, so it was fun to watch and just very, very emotionally driven in a very good way.
Well, my last thing is the New Mutants. Now, you said you had started it. Did you finish the
I
New
have not
Mutants?
finished it.
Dag nabbit,
you can
Fox.
spoil it. It's fine. I don't care.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to talk about it, though, and more than I talked about it before.
Okay.
So, the New Mutants, to me, was one that I was disappointed in. Not because it was bad, although it wasn't great. It was fine. It was less than fine, even, I would say. But mostly I was disappointed in it because when they first began advertising it, before they put it on pause and had a bunch of changes and everything, when they first began advertising it, they advertised it as a horror film. There was a lot of horror elements in this, and you can still see that.
Yeah.
And I honestly think it would have made a great psychological horror film. I think that it had a lot of potential to be that, and to do that well, and to be genuinely creepy, and to be a step out of the typical superhero genre, and to really talk about what it feels like to be super powered but also be helpless, to be in a position where you can break buildings, you can melt stone, but you can't stop what is happening right now, and that is terrifying to you. It had the opportunity to do some really, really great things, and they even touch on them. Like they really kind of show scenes here and there, and there's some genuinely creepy moments, but then it very much devolves into like, sometimes it's teenage fun, antics stuff. Other times it's basic superhero stuff. And
Sure.
then it very, very quickly just becomes a superhero punch 'em up, type thing. And so I was pretty disappointed in it, but all in all, I'm glad I watched it. I think people should watch it just because there's good things in it that are worth watching for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably finish it. I watched like 20 minutes and then I started watching The Matrix. So
You legitimately watched 20 minutes and decided you just didn't want to watch it anymore?
I watch it when I'm doing, like, I watched it at a certain thing and I had to stop because I had to go do something else. And then when I was back in the position to watch something, I was like, I'd rather watch The Matrix again. The last thing I'll talk about today is much more relevant than the other things I've talked about, is Promising Young Woman.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the best picture nominees this year. It is essentially a revenge thriller, kind of. I wouldn't even say it's a thriller. It's more of a revenge story. It's a lot more of a drama than a thriller. About a woman. I won't spoil anything. About a woman who was personally connected to. It was wronged in the past. I'll say it that way. And if you see the trailer, it's about a woman who pretends to be drunk at a club, and then inevitably some white knight will, I'll take you home, or just somebody who, like, I'll take you home to be safe, or just straight up hits on them and tries to take them to their place, and basically it's never really, it's just about her getting revenge. And I'm being intentionally vague. And really what the movie is about is consent. It's about rape. It's about, like, it is a very timely movie, of course.
Right.
But what I loved about it was that it was not exploitative of, like, there's plenty of movies where it's woman getting her revenge on her abuser or something like that, and it really just becomes about the thrill of it, becomes about the like living vicarious, like it's violent, or there's a bunch of nudity or something, and this is not about that. This is about her trying to overcome trauma, and even beyond her intentionally going and putting herself in these situations, like just the regular everyday things that happen that make it very difficult for that kind of trauma to be overcome. Just mindsets that people have, and things like that. And the soundtrack was really great. The editing was really great. I wouldn't say it was 10 out of 10. It should be the best picture, but it was very, very good, and definitely a more restrained, thoughtful, and interesting take on something that is often just used as revenge porn, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's an actual term, but that's not what I'm referring to.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was great. And Carrie Mulligan, the main character, was great. Bo Burnham is in it. He's as usual very, very, very good. He's good at whatever he does. And highly recommend watching it.
All right. Well, that's all I got.
That's all I've got.
Well, then perhaps it is about time that we get down to the nerdy gritty.
Agreed.
Hey, before we do that, we just want to let you guys know that if you're hearing this right now, you were listening to an edited version of the nerdy gritty. We just kind of cut it down to make it more palatable for your casual listener. We've recorded almost an hour of content to this point right now. We cut that down to 20 minutes, half an hour tops-ish, and just really make it easier listening. But if you like listening to us banter, if you want to hear that entire quiz that Fox and I did at the beginning, if you want to get all of that extended, what we call the director's cut of the nerdy gritty, then we would encourage you to head over to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/DestinFox, and become a patron of ours. At the second level or higher, you get access to the director's cut of the nerdy gritty, as well as at the first level or higher, you get access to all kinds of things like Patreon exclusive content, and like we have something on there called the Bargain Bin, where Fox and I played some free games on the Switch, and laughed and goofed off and just things like that. So it's really great. We really love your support. But if that's not something you can do, it's really helpful to us if you are vocal about the nerdy gritty. Go out and tell people about it. Go let them know what we're talking about. Go just show them, hey, I listened to this podcast called The Nerdy Gritty. You would love it. You should listen to it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your support. Now let's really, truly get down to the nerdy gritty.
A few days ago, the director of the game Days Gone made quite a, let's say, he made a statement with some mixed responses. We'll go with it. This is referring to director and writer John Garvin. He at Sony Bend. Let's see. He doesn't appear. We're beginning a scene. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he is no longer at Sony Bend.
Right,
which is the studio that created Days Gone, a game that if you don't know what it is, you can actually go watch our playthrough on our YouTube channel right now. But in an interview with another former Sony developer, David Jaffe, who was pretty involved with the God of War series, the original God of War series, it was a longer statement. There's a longer quote. It's a whole interview, but the one of the biggest statements he made was that if you love a game, you should if you love a game, buy it at full effing price. Basically saying, making his thoughts clear that if you love something, or a game, you should buy it at launch for full price rather than waiting for it to go on sale or getting it through PlayStation Plus or etc. etc.
He goes on to say exactly that. Another quote here from the interview. I'm just saying, don't complain if a game doesn't get a sequel if it wasn't supported at launch. It's like God of War got whatever number millions of sales at launch, and Days Gone didn't. And so his whole point is buy it full price at launch. If you love a game, if you want it to have a sequel, buy it at full price.
Now, obviously, you're probably thinking to yourself, wait a minute. That doesn't, there's a lot of, I have a problem with that. That's not the most logical statement.
That doesn't make sense.
So what we want to do today is kind of just respond to that statement, talk about kind of, he does have a certain point, I think.
Yes.
But we want to talk about where he's coming from. We want to talk about, maybe some of the problems with that kind of thinking, as well as what are ways that we can support a game. Like if we want a game to get a sequel, what are ways that we as the audience can have an influence on making that happen? So I'll just go to you right here at the start. Like what's your hot take, your response to that statement that he made?
I read a couple of articles on this, and the articles quote different things. It was a 4-hour interview, and so obviously he said a lot. But in general, you get the idea that this guy, in general, does not seem to be a beat around the bush, pad the corners type of guy. He's going to tell you what he thinks. In fact, he was going on to say, like, it was the development was crazy. We had a lot of crunch, and he says, but I love crunch. I actually love just putting my everything into something. And so he just seems to have an intense personality in general.
Yeah.
So I think that he is the type of person I could see where that logic fits for him. Look, man, if you like something, you buy it. That's just what you do. That's the way it is. That intense, no cutting corners. That's what it is type of thing. But the reality is that unless this is an established IP, there's no way of knowing you're going to get your money's worth. And maybe you buy it at full price. Even then,
you don't know.
Right. Even then, there have been some sequels for games that are terrible, But maybe a game comes out and you wait 2 weeks to see what some of the reviews are, get some friends' opinions, talk to people, see, and then you buy it. But at that point, so often people are like, the production companies are looking at opening weekends. And so his point is just really, really tough. The reality is I see him looking at this exclusively from a developer standpoint.
Yes.
He is saying, I don't care about your consumer mindset. I don't care about what is best for you as a consumer. If you want us developers to get the best of what we need, you need to buy a game opening weekend at full price. And I just flat out don't agree with that mindset.
Yeah, the issue, I mean, there's lots of issues. One of the issues I have here is this was in the realm of talking about, like, why isn't Days Gone 2 getting a sequel? Some side news here along with this is that it was recently learned by just put out into the general, atmosphere that Days Gone 2 was pitched to Sony and they passed.
Right.
And instead gave a different project to, or I think, what is it?
Bend Studios.
Ben Studios
Sony Bend.
Working on something else instead. And so here's the thing, though. The context of this conversation is, at least in part, talking about, why isn't that sequel happening? And that has nothing to, like, how am I supposed to know if I want a sequel to this game that I bought the day of? Like, I bought a game that launched for full price. I have seen trailers. How do I know if this game is terrible? How would I know if I want a sequel? Maybe I don't want one. Maybe I want you to make something else after playing this game. And now I've given you more money and given you this notion that, this was like the idea of connecting the amount of money you paid for the game to be your review of the game in a certain context or a certain capacity, like, is just nonsense to me. The amount of money I paid for a game is more about, I mean, there's a lot of factors, what I could afford. Like, my hype for a game is very different than what I want to come after, I'm going to buy new Pokemon Snap day of because I'm very excited to play another Pokemon Snap, and the stuff I've seen about it looks pretty good. But then if it comes out and it's bad, I'm probably not going to want them to make another one.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to want, or at least I'm not going to want my money that I've given them to be seen as an endorsement for what I think the quality of the game is.
And we've seen kind of the opposite of what he's saying be true here. Like, his full quote to go on, edited for language, of course. He says, if you love a game, buy it at effing full price. I can't tell you how many times I've seen gamers say, yeah, I got that on sale. I got it through PS Plus, whatever. But the truth is that I've seen so many games gain new life once they're released on PS Plus.
Yeah.
Or they're on a Steam sale or something like that. Games that were pretty popular at launch, but then now it's free online, like Maneater, for example. Now,
yeah, I was just thinking that.
Let's be honest, Days Gone is very, very bigger than
and better, way better.
Yeah, better than Maneater, but we can still see that exact same thing where this game is now free, so people are going to give it a shot, and they fall in love with it, and now the love of this IP is giving it a new opportunity to have second life, to actually move on to a sequel.
Right, or like something much bigger, Among Us. Among Us was out for several years before it really picked up, and it picked up because of Twitch, because of streamers. Like, there was one streamer who had a great time, and everybody else was like, hey, let's play that game also. And now they are making money off of it. So the idea that you have to give them money at launch for it to be then successful in the future is demonstrably not the case all the time. Like, they're like, I understand the idea of, like, making lots of money right off the bat is a good sign when seen by, publishers and the people who are investing in these kinds of things. But it's very reductive, I think, is just the thought process. And to be fair, we are not game developers. We do not know about all of these things. What we are game consumers who are more concerned with the amount of money we're spending on games and the quality of those games rather than whether or not they get a sequel, Like,
well, I agree with you, but I don't think that's actually a problem. I think that there has to be a marriage of these two things. We can't just say, if you love something, obey the developer. There has to be some sort of, like, back and forth there. No movie says, hey, if you want your movie to get a sequel, you have to watch it opening weekend. I'm sure they think that. I'm sure there is that mindset. I'm sure that production companies for films believe that. But nobody points the finger at viewers and says, if you want that sequel, you must do this, because they understand, no, I just need to make a good film. I need to do, or good advertising or whatever else. Like, that part is on me.
Right.
And this is a similar situation where we are consumers. It's not our job to consider how is this going to impact the developer. It's our job to enjoy a game, buy it if we like it, or consume it in some way. Maybe download it off PS Plus. Get it for free if it's legal. I don't support the torrenting or whatever else,
right.
But in some way support the game. That's our job as consumers. And and we're going to talk about this later. I don't think it's just John Garvin's fault that he has this opinion. My guess is this is a culture that has been established by publishers and developers alike. Yeah. And this is just sort of the culture on the development side of things. But to say now we're consumers, not developers, so we don't fully know, that's true. But I honestly don't think that matters. I think it's our job to be consumers of a video game. And that can mean a lot of different things. But thinking to yourself, I have no idea what this game is going to give me, but maybe someday I'll want a sequel, so I had better buy it for full price on launch weekend, is just a ridiculous take.
Yeah. It's, again, John Garvin is coming from head of the studio, and also we can't even reduce him to just money thinking. This is a guy who has a very, like, I've seen interviews with him. He's very, like, they're one of the best video game, like, interview series that I've ever seen is the Game Informer, like, rapid fire questions. They're super fun to watch, but they're also very informative and very fun. And he did one, and he very clearly was like into this game. It wasn't just that, hi, I'm a suit man. It was, I love motorcycle culture. Like, I love this kind of, like, I don't want to say that, like, I don't want to imply that we doubt his passion for the game itself and for storytelling and for fun gameplay. Like, that can't be said. Like, he very likely just wanted to make Days Gone 2 and just wasn't able to because it didn't have the financial response that, the higher ups were hoping for. And so we can't we can't really just blame him for being a soulless, money grubber, that kind of thing, because I doubt that's the case.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly I agree. Yeah,
I think the issue is when you are this phrase basic, the way it's phrased, and it might have been off the cuff, it might have been unplanned, but it felt very consumer, like, how dare you not give me the money for the thing that I want, that kind of thing. And that's just not how it works.
Yeah, I think that a lot of this comes from, and again, I'm wholeheartedly guessing here from 2 articles that I've read on the internet, but in general, I'm guessing this comes from a place of hurt. He pitched that Days Gone 2 thing. It didn't go well. He ended up, he didn't get fired, but there was a conversation and he chose to, or they agreed that they should part ways. And so he no longer works there. And I'm guessing there's a lot of bitterness and hurt there. And he really, really wanted this thing that he loves to continue. And the fact that it isn't, at least in the way that he wants it to, is sad. And that sucks. And so he's saying, I really wish you guys would have all paid a bunch of money for it so that I could keep making this thing that I love. Yeah.
Now, also, to tell people, don't buy it on sale. Don't play it when it's on PlayStation Plus. No.
Right.
I'm going to spend less money on a game if I have the opportunity. I'm going to play it for quote unquote free on PlayStation Plus. I have done that with several games, and like, that's just like, I'm going to. Why wouldn't I? I'm here to spend less money on video games. Doesn't mean I don't like them as much. It means I want to spend less money on it.
And again, I understand that what he's trying to say is don't wait to buy it later, buy it at launch, but to encourage, or to discourage the buying on sale or the playing on PS Plus is counterproductive to your cause.
Right.
These are people that could continue to give you revenue, could continue to give you like notoriety and get the name of your game out there. You want them to, don't say don't do that. Instead say it's awesome when people support us later, when late in life we get, new life later in the years. That's really awesome to see. but I really wish we would have been supported from the get-go.
Sure. Right. Okay. So we've kind of just gone over basically, the response to his. We understand where he's coming from. It's not he's not just bad mouthing consumers. It's lots of stuff. Let's talk about in what way can the audience, if they so choose, like support a game and try to be vocal about a desire for a sequel. If we're saying that no, you don't have to buy it at launch, that's your choice. What are ways that we can go about being supportive of that game post launch?
So I've got a lot of thoughts on this, and there's some real obvious practical ones, but I'm going to go with one of the more kind of like thinking out of the box ones. If you love a game and you want it to have a sequel, stream it. A lot of what people don't understand is a lot of production companies will actually take a look at the not SEO, that's search engine optimization, just sort of the hits, like the general where your thing is on the internet, how hot it is, how much is coming up, and particularly on Twitch, seeing a game getting streamed a crap ton will change things a lot. It will definitely start getting more notoriety for the game.
Right.
And even if you were streaming for one person and it's your sibling in the room next door or whatever else, having that game pop up on Twitch helps set these numbers in search engines and in all kinds of different things that actually will give notoriety to a game. So if you love a game and you want it to have a sequel, stream it. Make it public that you're streaming it and stream it often. That's a big thing for Hades. That's helped Hades hugely.
Yeah. Vocally talk about on that stream, I hope they make a sequel to the,
right.
Be very vocal about it. There are lots of things, little things you can do in the standard, like write a positive Steam review, that kind of thing, or make a petition of some kind. Lots of those little things that could have an impact. But I think financials. Here's the thing: at the end of the day, financial support is going to be the most important thing. Right. So if you love Days Gone, then I don't really think there's real DLC to the game as far as like content packs, but I think there might be some little like add-ons or something.
Yeah, there's aesthetic things you can get, like motorcycle parts or paints or whatever else. There were little things you could buy here and there. Yeah.
So here's the thing. That would be very helpful. If the game is making money in any way, then that is helpful to then that will support the idea of making a sequel to it. So obviously, again, this is your choice whether or not you want to. And I completely understand if it's something that has really no bearing on the game. It's just, horse armor from Oblivion or something. But at the end of the day, they will see, hey, we are making money from this, and that's going to be a better impact than not making money on this.
But I think that this goes back to what we were talking about before when we were saying he is thinking in the mind of a developer. We have every right to think in the mind of a consumer. And I think what you're saying is that is where we need to think in the mind of a consumer, where we need to say, I love this game, but I have given it $0. If I want this game to continue, I should probably give it dollars as a consumer. Yes. And so maybe that's like, you know what, I'm going to go through here and I bought like a sticker pack for Little Nightmares, just things like that. I also bought Little Nightmares, but continue to try and support the game. Buy Days Gone paraphernalia, buy water bottles or patches or whatever they sell. Like, buy things for Days Gone and spend that money on Days Gone in whatever way you can, just to let them know, yeah, people like Days Gone and they're willing to give it money.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm not endorsing the idea of just blindly throwing your money at something because it has a certain logo on it to be a good consumer. I'm saying that if your goal is to signal, hey, I would love a Days Gone sequel, then something that's going to be to give credence to that thought in the minds of Sony would be, hey, there is revenue coming from this particular product. That is going to have an impact. You shouldn't just blindly buy stuff because it has a logo of something you like. But, you can if you want to, that's up to you. But if you do want to support it, show support, that's going to be a big way to do it.
I would also suggest on that point to support the developer in their other projects.
Yeah.
because I know that if one game fails and then another game does great from the same developer, they're probably not going to make that failure of a game. But for a game like Days Gone, that by all means did not fail. It was a good game.
Yeah.
We thought it was too long. We thought that could have been reduced by half, probably.
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, it was a good game. Like, it was fun. The mechanics worked well. What we did was enjoyable. We just did it for too long, in our opinion, you know?
Yeah.
And again, that was even our opinion. Maybe some people ate up all 60 hours or whatever of that game and loved every second of it. All that to say, and when a game does moderate, you can still support a developer, and then that developer might look back and say, hey, maybe we try a second swing on this game. Maybe we try this again. You know, I think supporting a developer in general can still give hope to their old projects that may have done fine.
Yeah. I also want to talk about like fan campaigns. There are certain TV shows that have gotten like saved from cancellation because of fan campaigns. You send a certain object that's relevant to that show to the to the offices of the development company, the network, or whatever. And I don't know about that. Like I'm thinking about this like when there's certain legislation that I support or don't like. Then you can go to your senator's website and write an email or send an actual physical letter or something like that. And yes, it is a drop in the bucket, but at the end of the day, if you have a large enough campaign, that also can have a pretty big impact on the plans of the developer, of the publisher. And really the risk there, of course, is that you can have a lot of people be vocal and then also not buy the game and just be a big risk. That was actually the case for Zack Snyder's Justice League. I've learned in recent weeks is that despite the very, very, very loud vocal support for that being made, it was something like 36% of people actually watched more than half of the movie in the first like 2 weeks. Like, there was a big loud support, but it actually didn't have a lot of viewing time. So anyway, but I do think something like that, writing good reviews. I mean, I don't support review bombing or review, boosting or whatever, because I don't think that's what reviews for. But if you have a genuine good opinion of a game, write about it. Write it on your blog, write it on your Twitter, write it on Steam reviews, be vocal about your love for the game anywhere you can be. Because that's going to show, hey, this is something that's actually current in the modern dialogue. It's not just Days Gone is what 3 or 4 years old now. But if it suddenly got a big, boost in like if your searches for Days Gone started showing all these good reviews and good talking, YouTube videos and all these things, that's going to have another good impact on the developer's viewpoint, on the publisher's viewpoint.
And I would also say you could even follow developers themselves. I mean, like something in the world of winemaking is a lot of times.
Here we go, guys.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. The big labels, so like your typical grocery store labels, if you find a bottle you really like, look and see who the winemaker was for that one. Typically the name will be on it, or you can look it up online, because some of those guys will come in for like one vintage for 1 year and then move on to a different place. But they are good at what they do, and so wherever they go, they're probably going to make good wine. That's the same is going to be true with video game development, where if you really, really liked Days Gone and you really, really think that John Garvin was a huge part of that, follow him. See what John Garvin is doing next. Maybe the dude's going to start up an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter for a project he wants or something like that. Show the world, I want to support this guy and the work that he does. And so therefore I am going to give him money in this way, shape, or form. Yeah. So I really think, again, trying to think of it like a developer is a bad take, and what he said I disagree with. But we should think about it like a consumer, and part of our job as a consumer is to speak with our wallets. And we've talked about this a million times before.
If there's a motto, if there's a second motto of the nerdy gritty, it's vote, speak with your wallet.
Yeah, vote with your wallet, speak with your wallet. Yeah. And if you're a consumer and you want to support something, give it money. And if you want to support not just the game, if you want to support John Garvin, find ways to give them money.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's what we got for all of this. We want to know what you think in general about John Garvin's take on how to get a game a sequel. Let us know what you think about sort of the culture from the dev and publisher side, that those opening weekend sales or whatever else. And let us know what you think of our opinions on how to get a game a sequel. Want to say a big thank you to all of you for listening. Also thank you to Granger for the use of our theme song. All my friends have Wi-Fi, and also neighbors. And
you need to write this down and put it in front of you.
I have done that before and found out that I wrote it wrong. And you told me that. You explained it to me. All my friends have Wi-Fi, and so do some of my neighbors. And some of my neighbors do too, right? And so do some of my neighbors.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Good enough.
What is it?
Hold on, I'm looking it up. All my friends have Wi-Fi, and so do most of my neighbors.
Most of my neighbors, and so do most of my neighbors. Off of the album Dear Sam. It's a good song, and I like listening to it.
It's just got a long title.
It's got a long title. I missed one. I substitute some for most. It's not that big of a deal. Whatever.
This is all getting cut out of the track. Go check out our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of videos going up. Well, right now we're playing It Takes Two. And it's been really fun to play. A lot of good co-op stuff. I win most of the mini games, so that's always fun.
And is bad at everything else.
Yeah. And coming up soon, we're going to be playing Pokemon Snap, the new Pokemon Snap, as well as Resident Evil Village, which I'm very excited for. So we've got a lot of stuff on the docket. So go check out our YouTube channel.
Thanks again, guys, for listening. And always remember that save games, save lives.
Bye.
My voice sings all